That whole nobody wants to work thing died off pretty quickly, huh? I'm just sitting here enjoying my lunch when I remembered hearing that stupid line, which I haven't heard for a year at least by now. They've moved on to complaining about how workers expect living wages and adequate work conditions. I'm working by myself one evening at the gas station and the customer line was wrapped around the store. I'm ringing out people as fast as I can and one old retired man starts bitching about how we need more employees and nobody wants to work anymore. I yelled, "Go ahead and jump on that empty register. I could use the help. It's $13.50 an hour." He said, "No, that's okay." I said, "Guess you don't want to work anymore either." Oh, they've moved on to stupider shit like loud quitting. Morons. It's still getting yelled here. At least till I point out how the few places here that pay a more realistic wage don't seem to be having any staffing issues. Every time I hear it I offer to work for them but they have to beat what I make already. And no, $12 hours isn't going to do it. I really love. We need higher unemployment to keep the poors in their place. Brazenly mask off and inviting revolt. I had a coworker just a week or two ago say, and now that they finally cut off the bonuses to stay at home and be lazy, maybe people will start getting jobs again. About 2 years too late on that one. You unfrosted Pop-Tart. I hear the dang phrase at least once a week. I still hear it all the time, from people who want to pay minimum wage. Reminds me of the old money doesn't buy happiness trope. Of course it does. You can't survive without it in this day and age. I think it stopped when a bunch of old folks ran in looking for the jobs. You can't say, nobody wants to work and turn away willing workers at the same time. If someone actually turns you away, you get the idea pretty fast that it's all bullshit. My boss recently said it. I told her people are sick of being exploited. I don't think I'll last long here. While billionaires in Australia are trying to drive unemployment up and make workers hungry, the UAW strike is about to hit me right in the pocketbook. But I'm proud that they're making a stand. It's time for trickle-up economics. People want to work. We also want to live, not just survive. I don't want to work. They just don't want to work for starvation wages just to make someone else filthy rich. I just heard it a month ago from a family member, followed by they're all living off those checks from the government. I was on vacation and didn't want to engage. They have to cycle through their lies to keep the ignorant masses from catching on. It is amazing what most people will forget in a couple years. Yeah. Turns out when people don't have alternatives to getting fucked by a toxic boss for shit pay are quick to head back in. We had an alternative with the shutdowns and unemployment to seek greener pastures. Suddenly THR market had to compete with unemployment. Then the money to help people for a bit stopped and now employers are getting 20 applications for an 18 hours job because people have to pay their overpriced rent. I want to work. Earning a livable wage that keeps up with inflation without working 70 hours per week standing on my feet at all times without a paid break. Expected to work through my lunch break. Give $199 to the company that gave me a $2 instant lotto ticket for Xmas and the CEO got a $40 salary increase. No, it's still around but it's being countered by said lazy people shoving their pay stubs in those people's faces and them being like, okay, fair. I wouldn't want to work that job either with what you get paid. Only until the next time. Saw a collection of newspaper cutting a while ago dating back to the late 1800s where they've been saying the exact same thing. It's just a well-rehearsed excuse whinge. Nope. Just had this conversation with a restaurant owner. Can't believe people ghost him after he offers the magnificent sum of $10 an hour. But it's under the table. I still hear and see this all the time, unfortunately. They've been saying it for literal decades. It just fades in and out. When is there going to be a general strike? Honestly, we should be reminding the world of what utter BS this point was 3 or 4 times a year just so people don't forget how out of touch business is with their labor force. Demand for labor has dipped. So we're transitioning toward if you don't want to live in a box on the side of the road, you'll take what you're given and like it. No one wants to work. We have to. Why are lottery tickets so popular? And people dream about retirement. Not that most will be able to. They sure went from nobody wants to work to we need to show these arrogant workers who the boss is really fast. I dunno. I work for a place that's had tons of staffing budget cuts and people will still say they can't find people to work for us. We've had a hiring freeze and a huge wait list. As companies repeatedly lay off tens of thousands of people. Haha, billionaires now saying we need unemployment. I once had an employer who secretly got another job at a big corporation and was making double salary totaling over $200K income after taxes, bragged to the entire company about how much money he was making, while also telling us that money doesn't matter, while also calling us ungrateful because we shouldn't complain about being underpaid. I hear it all the time still. The people I work with though, idiots though. It was all about staffing offices, those weren't real openings. Boomers still saying it every day. Along with how overpaid everyone is and how people should be grateful to just have a job. Kinda meaningless to say no one wants to work when there's very low levels of unemployment. The need to bail out commercial real estate took priority over belittling workers. Had a head cashier tell me this after I had to cover all day for her. I told her never ask again. I did it for others. Found it disrespectful. I told her I cover her cashiers along with 3 departments some days. I let them fire me a week later. And then when economic times are not so good, these same people will pivot to, be grateful you have a job 111. I hear it a lot in Idaho. It's also a pretty common thing to put on a sign taped up inside a business around here. I always want to tear down those signs. Lucky you, I still hear it all the time where I live. We tend to be behind everyone else though. Nobody wants to starve either. I still hear it from my managers. New hires can't handle the workload. They can't handle stress. They are too sensitive. One manager was even talking about a new guy who was pushing carts in 95 degrees getting heat exhaustion like it was his fault and he was too weak to handle it. They are so out of touch with the reality of today's working climate. Apparently nobody wants to hire is the new thing. I'm not even looking for a white-collar or office job. Companies are posting job openings and not responding to applications for blue-collar general labor. Thank God I haven't seen quiet quitting recent LT. If you were in Texas, they get mad over allowing people to drink water outside. Had a discussion with the neighbor yesterday who just retired. He was a small business owner, and when he started the company 25 years ago, he walked up to a crew and asked how much they were making. They told him their day rate and he doubled it, plus he feeds them breakfast, lunch and dinner when they are on the job. That crew is still with him today. He's never had to replace a single one of them. He's added additional crews but no turnover. He says the whole people don't want to work is bullshit. He says it's simple, treat people right and you never want for employees